welcome to another episode. Was it 120? Wow, I was thinking we're still in like
the teens.
The teens there.
Nope, we're young adults.
We are young adults. We're maturing.
Yes, we are.
And welcome to the hunting shack here with the struggling hunters. We get the guy over here on this side of me, Eric.
Hey guys. And
this guy right here is Joe.
That's Joe.
That's me. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We really do appreciate it. It's fun to see you guys' your little view tick marks on whatever platform that we're on. If you haven't, go check out our last episode. We talked about what our stories of becoming elk hunters or just typical outdoorsmen, I guess, deer hunting and elk hunting, and kind of some memories we have from that. And this episode, we're going to be talking, nothing too deep, but an article that I found in bow hunting about following the herd. And then before we even get there, kind of mentioned platforms. And for those of you that have been following us, you're either new to our channel or you've been following us. So either way, you've noticed that we're on some other platforms now. You want to say something about that, Eric?
Yeah. So Joe and I, as we've been learning how to basically get better about being on social media, man, we're so like small town, pretty much.
Yeah.
Small town backwoods guys or whatever, anyway.
Don't get out of the house much.
Yeah, something like that. But we started working on doing shorts for the other platforms like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and it's been a lot of fun. We've gotten a little bit of traction and brand awareness to it, and so appreciate all you guys that have engaged on those platforms with us and come and checked us out. Really appreciate the support, and it's been a lot of fun doing the shorts. We if you haven't seen the other videos, what we've been kind of doing is doing more like funny little skits or dad jokes.
Dad jokes, yeah.
And why we're I guess it's only the first one, but first set. But we're gonna probably switch it up here and there. But the first one was why we were shooting bows.
Yeah.
And had a lot of fun doing it and laughed pretty good on a couple of those. But just having fun with it, man. And hopefully we're gonna keep doing it and add more flavors to it and other things to it also and see where it goes. So
yeah, and so I was gonna bring up, we didn't discuss it before, but so when we went out there to make these, we went kind of twofold. We went shooting to do some of these little short videos and then actually practice because we haven't for a while. And while we're out there, so Eric, I'll share a little something close to Eric's heart. This whole season, as we've been prepping, hasn't been so hot on the target practicing with the archery.
Yeah, to say the least.
So he's been actually quite down. He's called me up at nights, and I've had to, really, soothe him and make him feel better about himself. Just kidding.
Cry myself to sleep.
Yeah, hasn't been that bad, but he's been pretty down on himself. And so he decided to do some changes on his bow. And I thought maybe, you might want to discuss some of those changes.
Yeah, I'll try to do it the best way I can. I mean, I'm glad you brought that up, actually. I don't know if I can make the most sense of it, but I didn't even realize that I did it, but I just got this bow this year, and I had the sight on the closest setting to the
so where the sight mounts to the bow,
right? And it was like the closest to the, and no matter what I did, I was just always off. Every time I shot, I'm like, why am I always off? I can't figure it out. And I thought it was the bow. I'm like, man, I probably need to get rid of this bow or something. Like I was kind of getting there. I didn't want to admit that to myself, but I was slowly kind of getting to that decision. And
it's then, okay, Eric. Everything will be all right.
Thank you. And then I brought it up to Joe while I was shooting. I said, man, I can't ever see the full sight in this peep ring. And I said, I'm like, if I'm wanting to see if it's level or whatever, I got to look down at the level. And then it just hit me, and I'm like, wait a minute, I can adjust that, I think. So I moved it out further away from the bow. And once we figured out you always follow the arrow, right? Isn't that what it is?
Yeah. I think that's what we did.
Yeah. And so at first I was shooting like way high. Yeah. And I was like, and then me and Joe were scratching our head. We were arguing on which way it went. We're like, no, you go the opposite way. And I'm like, no, I follow the arrow. Anyway, we were like, I did. We finally figured it out. Long story short, we went back and forth and we finally figured it out, but we couldn't remember it because it's been a while.
Yeah.
And anyway, so finally got it dialed in, made a pretty big adjustment. I was making micro adjustments and nothing was changing. And then I'm like, I'm going to go for broke. Made a big adjustment and finally it dialed in. And it just automatically was increased. And it was crazy because, all it was, the only trouble that I was truly having every time I went out and shot was that target was just too close to my peep. Because and I told Joe, I was like, I think I need a bigger peep. And then I moved it out and I don't know, it fixed the whole thing. It fixed my problems and I was definitely grouping a lot better, than I have been. Yeah. And so yeah, if you're having trouble with your groups or something, that might be something to look at, if there's something that if you guys are having some kind of trouble like that, you might want to look at maybe doing adjustments on your sight yourself or on your pins. So, but yeah, I guess that kind of explains it.
Yeah. So just a little adjustment. That's kind of, didn't think you needed to do, but after you notice what was going on, what you're seeing through your peep sight, trying to figure out what you needed to, what maybe you can combat that, and it seemed to help you at least. Yeah,
it definitely seemed to help. And I don't know, the next shootout we have, you're going down.
I guess we need to do another one. I didn't want to do another one because,
it was so ugly on my end. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. That hurts a little bit that you're saying that, but I get it.
I just didn't want to see you cry anymore.
Yeah, I'm tired of crying. That's all I ever do, according to you. That's why we've had a little bit. That's why the drought is gone, because of my crying, I guess.
Right. We should take care of that 2 years ago.
Yeah. Well, it's increased lately, I guess. Ever since you moved down here, increase in crying.
You're saying we're better separated?
Yeah, we might be.
I guess I'll move.
Okay.
All right, guys. So back on topic here. So we just went over some little tidbits that Eric did to better himself, which should be a payoff in the long run as we get ready for the elk season, which is just right around the corner.
Man, we literally,
because I think we can buy our tags now.
Speaking of, we can buy our tags now. I was literally just going to say that we need to get on that.
And I think I need to do some more adding, but I believe I can get my residency. I think now, or I might have to wait one more week. I can't remember. No, the 14th. Around the 14th of.
That's 14th.
Is when I hit my 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we also need to get a bear tag, huh?
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, it will be.
That'll be fun.
So, anyways, back on topic again. It's kind of. I will say that we didn't necessarily read through the article. Eric hasn't even put eyes on the article, but I at least kind of glanced over it.
I was busy putting shorts up this morning.
Well, and I kind of wanted to do it a little bit kind of twofold. Like, I didn't want you to know the full information because I kind of wanted your raw. I wanted your raw emotion, Eric.
Raw emotion. Here we go. Here comes the tears again.
I just want I didn't want you any bias to what the article was saying. I wanted your true opinion on these things.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So, like I said, it was I think it was this month's episode of just bow hunting magazine, and it's kind of an interesting little article because it's called "Move with the Herd."
Okay.
So, what do you think that implies?
Well, I hate to be one of those just read the titles, guys. But I'd imagine that it means move with the herd. You move with the animals that you're hunting.
You would be correct. You're a smart one.
Yeah.
Huh. But yeah, it's move with the herd. He kind of goes.
I still
through.
blow Joe's mind every once in a while.
Every once in a while, he does a good job, and I'm just left speechless.
Yeah. That's the first time I heard that, actually.
Yeah, so moving with the herd that is what it implies, and that's what the guy talks about. He talks about finding the herd and being patient and waiting for a shot, and he kind of starts off and talks about how the big thing is bugling and calling the herd, the elk, in to get in your shot. And which whichever way gets me an elk, it's what I want to do. But I believe his big thing, it seems like patience. Whenever we talk about particularly bow hunting, patience is always with the great hunters, the ones that you got to be patient and you can't rush anything. And a couple of the things. Like he says, in order, so moving with the herd is like, God, I'm beating a dead horse. You're moving with the herd. You're following the herd. This guy follows him for a couple of days till he gets his chance. So he kind of goes through and talks about what that's like. As far as you got to be. He calls it nimble. You can't pack everything in the kitchen sink in your pack because you can't keep up with the herd.
So yeah, he's pretty much bivvy hunting, huh?
Correct. Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He says you gotta travel extremely light. You gotta have like everything in a nutshell. Kind of the bare necessities, but enough more than just the bare necessities. But like, he does go through and talk about all this, but there's a couple points in here that I kind of liked. He said, he did a 3,000 calorie per day meal plan.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Was it like peanut butter and stuff? Like high calorie, low volume?
Yeah, because he said it was high fat and high protein is what he liked to have. Which, that's probably something that that we need to look into, but we're not quite going off for days yet. So one of the things I thought was cool, I'd like to have at some point, but everybody kind of seems to be going that way, is a UV ray water filter God, not a water filter, but a bacteria killer. Like a little light thing you stick in to kill. Because that's one thing too. If you're doing this, you can't go back to the truck every night to get a bottle of water.
Your water, yeah.
So you got to have a way to clean it. And then I think, one of his topics was stick with a plan. And I don't know, it was kind of interesting to think of, what is the plan? For me, I don't know what what I'm trying to digest what my thoughts here on it. Cause I feel like I kind of have it in my head, but to get it out is a little different, or even what I'm doing. Cause I think a lot of times it's just like, let's go over here today,
Yeah. Yeah.
And so this guy, I guess I should give the dude that wrote the article a name. This guy,
the dude that wrote the article. Let's see, by Clint Casper. So old Clint Casper. I feel like I've heard his name somewhere before.
Probably, maybe.
Or he just has a very common name.
Yeah. Casper the Friendly Ghost.
Something like that.
So old Clint, he talks about doing a lot of Onyx and Google Earth scouting.
Right.
And he talks about he's looking for dark timber. I thought this was interesting. Secluded meadows.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it kind of makes sense.
It does,
meadows,
right?
Yeah.
But like,
how often do you think about it?
Yeah, like
never.
Yeah, like I'm thinking a meadow. I'm thinking like this big grand meadow, like, but is that where the elk are going to be? I don't know. You know, I mean, yes, elk are where they are, but at the same time, you know, this seems like, as we've discussed, that bow hunting and rifle hunting have picked up over the years. So I don't know that they're necessarily going to be out in the big open meadows per se. Like, yeah, they can be, but with more hunting pressure, they're going to be secluded.
Right.
He didn't say like what size a secluded meadow is to him, or, you know, but I'm sure it's a distance away from the road, and then, you know, how many dark timber patches there are around it and stuff.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, come across those all the time, really.
Correct.
So.
Well, that was, in a way, one of my experiences that I keep playing back over and over in my head about elk hunting is I kind of came across this. It wasn't quite a meadow, but it was, you know, a bunch of, young pine trees that were growing on through this dark timber that was just this low spot that was kind of a meadow.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like one of my only, what do you call it, regret moment. I don't know if I should have shot or not, because it was on the run. I had one little opening I could have shot, and I didn't because it was on the run. But I keep playing that over and over in my head.
Yeah, maybe you should have shot, then you would have known.
Right.
That was with a rifle, though, too,
correct,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you had a higher probability than with a bow.
Right, and I was already set up, because it was one of those things that the elk took off running in the direction it was running. There was this clearing, so I was like, well, if it hits that clearing, that's my only spot for a shot. So I was already set up, you know, like with my gun aimed at that spot. So it was all I had to do. I just, you know, I was ready and waiting and ready. But like I said, I think the other thing too is it was a new area, so I was scared of the area.
Right, not understanding.
Correct.
What was around you,
because
your surroundings.
Yeah, because I got there the night before with the coworker I was working with at the time, and he's been hunting this area for years. He's like, "Oh, just go down here and drop off the edge and walk, you know, do a loop back up." And yeah, I'm like, I didn't quite do any e-scouting or Google Earth or anything. I had just a paper map, I think. And I just was like, I don't really know where I am if that bull takes off, if I wound it, and I got to go look for it, and it ends up miles from camp. Like, I think I had my GPS at the time, but like, I was like, I don't know. So I was area shy too.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's happened to me too. But I'll tell you, every time your results are always like 100%, you know, like every time you hesitate, that's the hardest. I've done it myself, right? I've had a few stories where I hesitated on, and I could have had something really nice and big, and then I'm like, well, you know, that's what I got to live with now, is that
right
split second of hesitation cost me a nice animal.
And I just draw back on the fact that it was moving. So, you know, like, I don't know how good of a shot I would have had. So I'm okay. I'm okay, but I'm not okay, because I don't, like you said, you just don't know.
Yeah.
But had I shot, wounded the elk, and never recovered it, I just, you know, I would have felt bad about that too. So it's probably better that I didn't, you know, let the animal live.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I get it. It just sticks with you sometimes.
Right. So yeah,
I did the same thing. I mean, I know that one buck in Idaho that I didn't shoot. I mean, I'm glad I didn't, because it was on some land that I'm not supposed to necessarily shoot on, but it was so tempting. I don't know if I feel like I've told the story, but I think I kind of left that little part out, but that's all right. Hey, I'm Mr. Transparent today. Well, plus I didn't do nothing, so
right.
No harm, no foul. So
right. And I guess just get back on topic here.
Oh, do we have to?
We don't have to, but you know, so I thought this was kind of interesting. So he says, you know, he starts, it says, I will generally start searching for elk and elk sign in these places, and let what I'm seeing or not seeing be my guide.
That makes sense. That's something that me and you kind of say all the time.
I think we're getting better at that, because I think it, like, again, back to my statement of, I think I'm just going to go this direction today, like, and just go till I see something, like.
But if you're not seeing a sign, you're almost guaranteed not to see something. So
right.
You're just going to keep going till, walk off into the abyss.
Correct. And that's kind of like how, I think we've been getting better at that, but we've definitely
made those mistakes
just
because we thought that there should be elk in this area.
Correct.
And
well, now the other thing too, I didn't really, just a personal thought on this hunting with the herd. And as I've thought of the title and kind of reading through it, I mean, evidently you're going to know which way the herd's going, but when you see the herd, but what about like their tracks? You ever tried tracking elk from their tracks?
The only time that I really tried that is with you during that snowstorm. But it kind of benefit. Like, I mean, right. Something popped up,
But we don't really typically have a lot of snow in the archery season.
Makes it a little more difficult.
Yeah. I'm a great tracker when I can see the tracks.
I guess, like, one way, like, if we get a little rain or moisture in the ground or something, you could just tell that it's, like, fresh. Well, right. Most of the time, whenever you're following tracks, though, at some point, you're going to come across scat, too. So you can kind of get an indicator if it's fresh or old.
Correct. And sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but, like, my other thought went, like...
I'm used to it.
And stay used to it. One of the things too is understanding where the elk are at in their daily routine. So if you can kind of tell how old, or maybe not necessarily how old it is, but if you're seeing elk in a certain area on the mountain, okay, is like that. I think this is where my struggle is understanding. What transition zone is this? Are they heading to bedding? Where's our bedding area from this? Where's our feeding area from this area? Am I in that area of one of those two bedding or feeding areas? Like, it's one of the things I think I'm still kind of learning.
Yeah. No, I hear you there. I mean, I wish I could just find their bedding area.
Right.
And be like, hey, guys, good morning. Good morning to you.
Well, right. Like that's... and
good day for me, bad day for you.
And I think... And I think with trying to do the whole tracking scenario is understanding where you're at, so that way you know which direction to go.
Yeah. Yep.
And I think, and I know that I overthink it too. Like, like it's a lot simpler than I'm making it.
Yeah. A little bit. But I don't know, man. I can't really say that because, I mean, we've had our ups and downs with the success and stuff, so we're just trying to figure it out. And sometimes double guessing ourselves is just it's natural to do that. Whenever you've been hitting your head on a rock the whole time,
right? When I think
I'm trying not to hit my head on a rock, but I keep doing it, and I don't know why.
Right. And the other hard thing too is you always want to explain it away. There's always a reason, right?
There's always a reason. Hunters are just they're kind of like fishermen a little bit, but with just more on dry land.
Right.
They're dry land fishermen.
Because it's never really your fault, or that you always feel like there's a reason why something happened, and there always is. But you always sit there and analyze it, and like, well, if 10 miles back, if I would have started tiptoeing.
You got to tiptoe 10 miles back.
Yeah.
You didn't know that?
Sorry, Eric.
I'm just having fun.
Would you stop doing it at my expense?
I know. Dude, I always start like kind of getting that mood like toward the like warming up out with the podcast or something. Yeah. It takes me a little bit to warm up. Then I start warming up. Then I'm like goofball,
Stop it.
Yes, sir.
But so like he does say like through his article that he will more or less bed the elk at night, and then he'll go find a spot away from the elk where they typically won't go. Like he tries not to make sure he doesn't set up camp where they're going to be grazing through the night or something.
Right.
And he'll find he calls it he'll find like rock bands, cliffs, and small patches of timber, and where small patches of timber are where I like, or is where he likes to to camp, and stay away from like the meadows, the big dark timber patches where they're going to be. And this is something kind of interesting that we've kind of talked about in the past that we were going to try to do, but I guess we weren't really together to do it. And it was kind of mid-season last year when we found it. But he likes to get up in the middle, not in the middle of the night, but like way early before the sun comes up and just listen to the bull's bugle. And that way that helps him that's how he helps find them and stays with them, is listening to them bugle before the sun's up.
Oh, gotcha. For the kind of locate where they're at.
Correct.
Speaking of that, or do you got more?
No, I can keep going, but that's more the gist of it.
Well, speaking of that, I was thinking it'd be a good time to tell that story about. It's kind of a third-hand story, but about the sleeping in the woods at night, and waking up in the middle of the night with. I don't want to give it away. I'm trying not to give the story away. It was with I believe your old coworker.
Yeah, with the tree stand and.
No, it wasn't the tree stand one. It was
where they just were like, "Hey, this is." So you try.
He's like, "This is where we're camping tonight." And he's like, "Are you sure?"
Yeah, and his buddy was like, "Oh no, I'm going. We're not going back to the truck." And so you trying to get me to tell a story? Is that what you're doing? Yeah.
Just try to be quick about it.
So they get to the spot, and the guy's like, "All right, we're camping here for the night. I'm not hiking 3 miles back to the truck just to hike 3 miles back in the morning." And so you guys know his partner is like, "We're going back to the truck." He's like, "Well, you can go back. I'm camping right here for the night." And like the guy's like kind of pissed a little bit, and finally he gives in, and they lay down, and they go to sleep. Well, sometime through the night, the guy, my coworker, he wakes up to his buddy just like a blood curdling, just screaming his guts out, and he looks over. And he goes, "There's something next to me." And so come to find out. So they go to sleep, and the guy wakes up to something laying up to him.
Cuddling with him.
And he turns around and looks, and all he sees is black fur. And he thought it was a bear. And it was just a moo cow. A black cow cuddled up to him in the middle of the night.
I love that story. I don't think we've ever told that one.
I don't know
because it's third party, but
right.
But the way you were talking about that, and sleeping with the herd and everything, it reminded me of that story, and I was like, oh, that'd be a good point to throw that one in there. I like that story though.
Turn around, see just black hair. I got a bear.
Bear sleeping with me.
Just a lonely cow.
Just a lonely cow. Oh, that's pretty good. Well, you know what? Since you did such a good job on leaving that, leaving us with that great story, I won't ask you if you have any final thoughts.
I'll leave it at that.
Sounds good. So, guys, my final thought is as we've learned from this article that Joe was reading, and I haven't looked at it all today, and that you follow the herd, as the title says.
Follow the herd.
As the headline says, follow the herd. With that, guys, hey, man, we've been having a lot of fun doing content. I think things are kind of slowly rolling. Real quick, before I get off here, Joe should be having his truck. We didn't bring it up today, which we forgot, but Joe should have his truck running today. So next podcast or whatever, we'll probably talk about that a little bit more.
Correct.
Hopefully it's running by then, but it should be today. So with that said, guys, thanks for all your support. Thanks for everything that you've been doing. Consider subscribing, liking, and leaving a comment on any of the platforms that you see us on. We appreciate you. Have a good one. We'll see you in the next one. Later.